Tonight, James Jachikwesing swings into campaign mode, determined to win Asin North seat for the second time in less than 3 years, despite facing criminal prosecution for perjury that could land him in jail for up to 10 years. So is the NDC risking too much in backing him for the by-election on June 22nd?
But the NDC is prepared. The NDC has a goodwill in Asen, and the NDC is ready to go into that by-election with a positive mind that we would win.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. James Jachikwesing, whose name was expunged from Parliament as MP for Asin North on the orders of the Supreme Court, has tonight swung into campaign mode, determined to win the seat for the second time in less than 3 years. The NDC campaign machine has already been deployed in the constituency to back him. The decision to proceed to run that particular by-election comes despite Mr. Kwesing facing criminal prosecution for perjury that could land him in jail for up to 10 years. So is the NDC risking too much in backing him for that by-election? We'll hear from the party pretty shortly. Today, though, Mr. Kwesing has issued a detailed statement aligning his ambitions to contest that particular by-election. Plus, we also learn a bit more about the status of that criminal case against him, even as the Electoral Commission prepares to hold a meeting with the political parties on this impending by-election. More on all that pretty shortly. But let's go straight to the details of this statement that Jachikwesing issued earlier today. And in the studio with me is my colleague, Kojo Brace. Kojo, he is still insisting in declaring his ambitions and intention to run in this by-election, that he is indeed innocent.
Yep.
Right? And that he, after the time that he filed to contest, he had renounced his Canadian citizenship.
Yeah, so to quote him, he says, "I renounced my Canadian citizenship in December 2019 and returned to Ghana to serve you, my people of Asin North. When I declared my nomination forms, in October 2020, that I owed no allegiance to any country other than Ghana, that was indeed the truth. To date, no one has provided any evidence that I owed allegiance to Canada at the time I filed my nominations and when I was elected and sworn in as your member of parliament." He says, when a group of people sent a petition to the EC to allege that I owed allegiance to Canada, they were invited to provide evidence to support the allegations, but they failed to provide any evidence of my owing allegiance to Canada beyond my having had Canadian nationality. Accordingly, the EC cleared me fit and qualified to contest, and on 7th December 2020, you rose up and got me duly elected as your member of parliament with a resounding victory.
Okay, so he's still insisting he is still innocent,
Exactly.
and after the time that he filed, and for which reason the Electoral Commission, he says, still cleared him to go ahead. And then he takes on the judgment of the Supreme Court, citing several cases that he believes makes his case even strong now.
Now, he starts from the statement by the General Secretary. He says that, the recent statement by the General Secretary of NDC in response to the ruling expresses my view. He said, quote, "In the light of many decisions that we are aware of, including decisions in cases involving Honorable J.H. Mensah, Honorable Baba Jamal, and Honorable Peter Amewu, that state the Supreme Court does not have the jurisdiction to invalidate a parliamentary election, and that the High Court is where such a matter should be taken. It seems strange to us that the Supreme Court gave this decision." To buttress this point, he references...
And that's why he goes to reference some of those particular cases. And one of them delivered by Justice Tokono,
yes.
the Chief Justice, who's just been appointed and vetted.
Exactly. He says that... Now, let me quote what he wrote here. He says, "Her Ladyship said, quote, as referred to by Appel JSC on page 7 of the decision under review, this court has settled through cases such as Yeboah versus J.H. Mensah 1998-1999, 492, and in RE parliamentary election for Wolensi constituency, Zakaria versus Yimakan, that the effect of section 16 of PNDC law 284 of the Constitution and Article 99 is that any cause of action that is in substance and reality one that questions the validity of a parliamentary election and its outcomes must necessarily be prosecuted through a parliamentary election petition in the High Court. And neither the Supreme Court in its several jurisdictions nor the High Court in its various jurisdictions has jurisdictions to grant reliefs relating to a parliamentary election without a hearing conducted through petition to question the election in the High Court. End of quote.
And it cites a relevant pay to back this. So that
Exactly.
is his position that the Supreme Court had held before, that it's not a forum to decide this.
Exactly.
So he's still fighting
the Supreme Court for taking that
says.
decision.
But just to put it in context, he hasn't stated in this document that although he's still raising all these fundamental legal issues, he will seek a review of the matter. That's not. But what he confirms is that he will definitely be running in this by-election on the ticket of the NDC.
Exactly. Now he says that, having said all of what I've said, I am willing and ready to contest in this. He says, quote, the most important thing to me right now is to contest and win the by-election, which is the result of what the Supreme Court announced on 17th May 2023. I am determined to continue serving the good people of Asin North with all my heart, soul, body, and all resources I muster for the benefit of my constituents. I have been deeply touched by the amazing support and encouragement from you in the constituency of the Supreme Court decision on 17th May 2023. And Evans, you remember there was this vigil they held for him. He says, I was particularly moved by your show of love and support through the vigil organized by the youth at Asin Breku on Sunday, 28th May 2023. The massive attendance showed the depth of the support and encouragement I am receiving. I was really touched. Even before the Supreme Court decision, you, my constituent, have been sending me your messages of support and encouragement, and I am deeply grateful. So that is to show that, he appreciates the support they've given him, and he's ready to contest in the by-election. Evans.
Okay, stay with me. I want to get an update. The issue, though, around this tonight, which has generated a lot of interest and controversy among lawyers, is, well, can he legally contest? One, he's coming on the back of the Supreme Court case, and then he's also facing a criminal prosecution that could land him in jail if he loses that. Of course, many people maintain that he is still innocent until proving otherwise, but is this too much of a risk? But let's get a quick update on that criminal case. My court correspondent joins us right now on the line. Joseph, you've been following this case throughout. What's the status of that particular case against Chachi Kwesi?
So the case is at its very initial stages still, and this is because of multiple applications that have been filed at various points in time by lawyers for Mr. Kwesi, led by Chachi Kata. In fact, the last time we were in court was just last week, specifically on May 25th, where the court was informed of the fact that the disclosures, i.e., the evidence that the prosecutors intend to rely on in the case against Mr. Kwesi, there are some of the documents that Mr. Kwesi's legal team believe they don't have the full complement of. And so they compared it with what the AG had, and they realized that it may have been an oversight, per what the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuayeba told the court. And so the court adjourned to June 16, 2023, with the understanding that both sides will work on resolving that particular matter to enable the trial commence. And in terms of this particular case, it was filed against him on 31st January 2022. Just around the same time when the civil matter that was decided by the Supreme Court was filed. That was filed on 24th January 2022. And just briefly on the charges against him, the first is deceit of a public officer. The second charge is forgery of passports or travel certificates. The third charge, knowingly making a false statutory declaration. The fourth charge is perjury, and the final one being false declaration for office.
And from everything else that covering this, these are very serious accusations against him in this document that the AG is pursuing. Yes,
in fact, the perjury is a second-degree felony, and so that, in terms of what it attracts, about 10 years imprisonment. In terms of the other offenses, deceit of public officer, that is a misdemeanor, so you can't be sentenced beyond 3 years. Then the others are basically these misdemeanors as well, and not going beyond the maximum sentence of 3 years. But the facts quite interesting in terms of what the AG put before the court. They make the case that in July 2019, he signed an application form for a Republic of Ghana passport in which he indicated that he's a Ghanaian and does not have dual citizenship. They make the point that at the time, he held a Canadian citizenship issued on 30th October 2016, but failed to declare same on the application form. They go on to state that he obtained a Ghanaian passport as a result of this information that he provided. Again, in the 2020 elections, was conducted on 7 December 2020. In October, he picked up nomination forms to contest and indicated that he was a Ghanaian, even though they say that at the point in time he was a Canadian citizen, i.e. a dual citizen. He was therefore disqualified per the AG's view from contesting this particular election. And so they hold a view that it meant that the declaration he made on those forms, which was accepted by the Electoral Commission, were not true.
Thank you very much, Joseph Ford. I want to bring in the NDC's Director of Legal Affairs, Abraham Amaliba. And by the way, just before he comes in, the NDC have already tonight been circulating his campaign posters already. You see, vote James Dachukwesing as MP for Asin North constituency, vote justice and development. And so now they are framing the question around justice,
development.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he says he's prosecuting the Asin North development agenda.
Exactly. And also playing into the sentiment that some may have there that this case against him was an act of injustice. And so it's part of his campaign message, and it's now firmly imprinted on his campaign poster. And his slogan is vote for justice and development.
A vote for him is maintaining justice.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's how the NDC is framing James Dachukwesing's candidature in this by election. I want to bring in Abraham Maliba, who is Director of Legal now. Mr. Maliba, you are the Director of Legal for the party, and you know this criminal case is pending against him. I believe the party must have consulted you on whether or not it's prudent to still put him up. And your advice, I guess, from what the party's position had been publicly, must have been that, yes, do so. But isn't that too much of a risk?
Let me start by saying good evening to your listeners. And to start by saying that until and unless he is convicted and sentenced, nothing bars him from contesting. And so the advice given to the party is that as at November 2020, when he received his certificate of renunciation, he is qualified to contest any election, including presidential elections. So once again, until and unless he is convicted and sentenced, nothing bars him from contesting.
You're right, though. I mean, he's innocent and proven otherwise. But his name had just been expunged from Parliament because a case, again, traveled for more than a year, was just recently settled. The argument is you run the same risk. This case may travel. It's 50-50. Who knows? You run a real risk. If he loses, that he loses that seat again. That is, if he wins the by-election, and then you are back to square one.
So, is there the possibility of him being acquitted and discharged? If the answer is yes, that would be a calculated risk to take.
So this for you is a risk, but it's calculated.
In fact, when you are sleeping in your room, there's a risk. Even when he becomes a member of parliament, there's a risk. So what we are saying is that for now, the law allows him to contest. And if you are talking about whether or not he will be, the law courts would sentence him, I'm also telling you that the law courts can also acquit and discharge him. Don't forget that this is not like the one that's in the Supreme Court, or if you want a civil matter. They have to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And they have to show, that the prosecution has to show that he had a criminal intention to do what they are saying he did. So the standard there is high, and it's for the prosecution to clear it. So it's not going to be as easy as that.
You have been involved in that case somewhat. What do you know is the status of this case? This criminal case against him?
This case started way back last year. I'm aware it is at the embryonic stage. The last time I was informed of the prosecution witness not being available or so, and it was adjourned. But it's still in the embryonic stage, the very early days yet.
And so I've seen on the posters that the party has been circulating tonight, the messaging around James Achukwueze as a candidate has been the anchor of that message is justice and development. I'm picking up on that phrase justice there. Is this going to be the central campaign message for him on the back of the Supreme Court decision?
That is so, because the candidate feels that he was given a raw deal. He, though, has the Supreme Court ruling before him. He disagrees with the Supreme Court. And so he thinks that re-electing him would bring about justice to the people of Asin North who killed in 2020 to elect him. To re-elect him would right the wrongs he claims were perpetrated by the Supreme Court on him.
So you're going to use that in this by-election. This is going to be your trump card, you believe?
We will use, including the fact that this is a government that is limping. This is a government whose economic, what should I say, performance is terribly bad. And so we'll use every tool available, including what you have just read out, to ensure that he wins the seat.
On using the subject of justice, which is now firmly on this poster, you look at that and that could also backfire, because there may be some also in the constituency who genuinely also believe that the Supreme Court was actually right, and that he actually at the time of filing owed allegiance to another country. That could also prove disastrous for you, depending on how many people believe that narrative.
Before the decision was taken to use that as a campaign message, there was a sample that was used to gauge the feelings of the people. And if you saw the vigil that took place when he wasn't even there in Asin North, he wasn't there. I'm surprised to hear that he was even in Accra. I thought he was part of it. You would come to one irresistible conclusion that the people of Asin North are of the view that an injustice has been meted to them.
But that can be deceptive. How many people did you poll?
I have just told you the vigil, which is an indication of the feelings of the good people of Asin North. And so if you take what happened and consider the fact that the MPP is even now struggling to get a candidate, you put all this together, the combined effect is that the good people of Asin North are of the view that he was wrongly, targeted.
And I want to circle back to the Supreme Court case. Can you confirm for me, now, since you're director of legal, that the party, Achukwueze, you've now abandoned all thoughts of filing for a review?
Whether he has abandoned a review?
Yes.
Is that your question?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm just because now he's moving on. Now the campaign is on. His campaign, he says that's his focus. Can you confirm if that means the party now has abandoned all thoughts of filing for a review?
The party is poised for the by-elections, and the party is focused on the work on the ground. The lawyers would take a decision and advise the party only if the decision, the reasons are out on the 7th of June.
And I guess that is confirmation that you still have not received a written judgment.
That is so.
Abraham Aliba, thank you very much. And he's the director of legal for the NDC joining us there. And shortly we'll get to the NPP because we know that they've opened nominations for the Asin North by-election. We'll have an update on that for you. Brace is still with me in the studio, and he also taps into this view that Amaliba is just expressing there. He believes he has the support.
Yeah.
And that many people he believes he has enough people believing him that he's still innocent. This is his word against the Supreme Court, but he's believing the majority of the people in Asin North will take his side instead of the Supreme Court side.
Yeah, so he references the vigil that went on. He says that I was moved by your show of love and support through the vigil organized by the youth at Asin Breko on Sunday, 28th May 2023. The massive attendance showed the depth of support and encouragement I am receiving, and I was really touched. So he feels that, that is what is making him, he feels he has the support of the people. And so when he contends, when he puts himself up again, he will win this election. So he's calling on the people to come out in their numbers to vote for him on the day of the election. So he puts it this way, that the people of the Sal traditional areas who are excluded from representation in Parliament, the people of Asin North, to have been in that unacceptable situation for over a year. The by-election, which must be held within 30 days of the decision of the Supreme Court, according to the Constitution, will bring an end to this situation. The will of the people of Asin North must triumph. Democracy must be restored. I urge you all to come out in your numbers to vote for me so I return to Parliament and continue the work I began to do on your behalf towards advancing the Asin North development agenda.
And we're sending a team to Asin North. It's going to be a pretty interesting contest there. You want to stay with us here on election quarters for that. Now, so the NDC, they have their candidate. Well, he's an aspirant now until he files. The EC had already have announced the processes going into the opening of nominations and filing. But what about the MPP? The open nominations some 24 hours ago. That closed now. And my colleague Samuel Mbura has been following that for us. Samuel, what's the updates on the nominations opened by the MPP, encouraging people to come forward and put themselves up to be voted for in a primary as we move towards the by-election?
Well, Evans, the nominations have officially closed. In my earlier interaction with the Director of Elections, Evans Nemako, he indicated that the number hasn't changed. 2 persons have picked the forms and filed today as well. The party is expected to vet these candidates or these aspirants tomorrow, Friday, and the main election will be on Wednesday. He asked that the party needs to fast-track the process because the EC has limited time, a reason they are doing this within a short period of time. We can listen to him.
2 people have paid up their nomination forms. We had Frederick Amoah and Charles Opoku. Nomination comes to an end. The party's committee, chaired by the National First Vice Chairperson, Mr. Dankwa Smith, was set with the committee to conduct the vetting. EC itself is tied with time because it must operate within 30 days, same as the party. So you realize from the correspondence issued by the General Secretary, it directed that as much as possible the constituency is ready, the conduct of the exercise will be very swift. So on Wednesday, 7th of June, the party will conduct the primaries to select the candidate we will sponsor for the by-election. The EC has already opened the nomination. They've put out the website from which parties who are interested in contesting could download the nomination forms. We need to select our candidate, and this is going to be done by the party in Asin North constituency. Here, I mean the polling station executives, electoral coordinators, constituency executives, council of elders and patrons within the constituency. The party is not imposing candidates on them, and we know that going to the elections, we are going to win the seat.
Okay, so that's the update from the MPP. Someone is still with me, but I want to bring in lawyer Bobby Bansing into this conversation of around James Achikweson's declaration that he is running, considering that he has a criminal case still pending against him. Mr. Bansing, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you for having me, Ivan.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you're a lawyer, so walk me through this rope. The NDC's Director of Legal says, yes, it is a risk, but it is a calculated risk. You share that view?
Well, I believe that if the aim of a political party is essentially to win elections, a party may consider the impact of their decision on their ability to win the election more than any other thing. And so, yes, even though there's a criminal trial hanging on the head of their parliamentary candidate, it doesn't disqualify that person from running for the member of parliament. The outcome of the criminal trial if it's adversary, if the outcome is adversary, then it may affect the right of that candidate to continue to hold himself up for elections. If it is not, it means that then that parliamentary candidate will not lose anything if he has put himself up for election. So if he says that it's a calculated risk, I'm sure that they consider the ability to win the election with that person as their candidate as the most important factor in deciding whether to put him up or not.
Just to be clear, he just lost a significant case at the Supreme Court. His name has been expunged. He has a criminal case pending against him. Has it got anything barring him legally from contesting as we speak this evening?
I wouldn't say so, because if you look at the 1992 Constitution, the things that disqualify someone from running as a member of Parliament, there's an aspect of a conviction for offences that relates to moral turpitude. As it stands now, as of today, the reason why the Supreme Court held that he was not qualified to run for election for at the time he did, that reason is no longer valid, because I believe he has completed the process of having only one nationality as of today. So that is not there. In terms of whether there's any criminal conviction, as of today, there's not a criminal conviction, because he's still going through the trial. And everybody is presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. And so as of today, I do not see any legal barrier in his attempt to rerun for the election. However, if if he's nominated today and he's elected, in the course of his serving his term as a member of Parliament, if there's anything that occurs thereafter that makes him ineligible to run per the provisions of the Constitution, I believe that it will affect his ability to represent his people as a member of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Bobby Bansing. Grateful for your thoughts on this. What do you make of this? The NPP is now have closed nominations. They have two individuals who have picked forms and they will be vetted. The NDC, though, they've already settled on James Achikwesing, and you've just heard the risks that the party has weighed, and they say, well, it is a calculated one, and they are determined to go ahead. Share your thoughts, 055-1111-997. News Night in a minute.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number? The way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant's number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone.
Wouldn't you prefer an apartment hotel? One that offers the utmost convenience of a boutique hotel while offering the idyllic comfort of your own private home. Oasis Park Residences offers luxury studios, 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms both for short and long-term rental at competitive rates. Our sky swimming pool, gourmet outdoor restaurant, and a fully equipped gym rest on a breathtaking rooftop with panoramic views of the city. Oasis Park Residences, located at Shiashi Tetekwashi, 10 minutes from the international airport, is the ideal place for all your accommodation needs. Why don't you give us a call on 020-4343-009 or visit our website at oasisparkresidences.com to make your reservations. Oasis Park Residences, more than a home.
My name is Nana McBrown. Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Park Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Belpac tea roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Belpac kitchen towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Belpac kitchen towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Belpac today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper chow. Belpac is simply the best. Belpac, just perfect.
To be a Belpac distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bel Aqua.
Nothing feels so good like Belpac.
In the next 60 minutes here on News Night, Savannah and Northeast Regional Security Councils deploy emergency joint military and police team to North Gonja town of Lukula, where homes have been burnt and residents flee over renewed chieftaincy clashes.
Decision by the RESEC and that of Savannah. So the Savannah has sent security, Northeast also has sent security.
We are live in that region and bring you the latest on the ground. Also tonight, how much money do you have on the mobile money wallet? Telecom Chamber is warning SIM users risk losing their mobile money accounts permanently if they fail to take advantage of the unspecified grace period to register their numbers.
But if the NCA decide that this window they've given, after a week they are going to stop it, what is going to happen is that
blocks you forever.
It will block you forever. You will not have your number.
We'll bring you details as at least 45,000 mobile agents have had their SIMs restricted in the latest deactivation exercise.
The 45,000 are persons or agents who have not been able to have their own SIMs registered with their Ghana card. Today, we don't know those which have been affected, which we are still collecting.
The queues at the various offices of service providers is getting long and chaotic.
I wanted to make a payment this morning, so they said that the account I used to access before that, I'm no longer used to access it again.
I registered my SIM card, but for about 2 months now, they have blocked my line.
Also tonight, more than 100,000 students in the northern region have to choose between sitting on the floor, squatting, or simply perching as shortage of furniture hits the region. We'll hear from the Regional Education Directorate.
So we have a shortage. So in total, about 104,238 children are currently either perching with somebody or sitting on the ground.
Meanwhile, ActionAid blames government decision to reduce funding for basic schools for the shortage.
That these challenges mentioned can be addressed only if budget allocation to the educational sector, for example, the basic education sector, is enhanced.
And in business, Ghana to get first tranche of $900 million World Bank budget support funding in September this year.
And in sports, President of the Ghana Football Association expressed confidence in Black Meteor's ability to qualify Ghana for next year's Olympics ahead of the Under-23 AFCON tournament.
And later we'll tell you about plans by the World Bank to cut funding for government's social intervention programs like free SHS if it fails to implement proposed reforms. Details of all that, plus your views here on Newsnight. And we start tonight from the Savannah and Northeast regions, where the regional security councils there have tonight issued an emergency call dispatching military and police personnel to the North Gonja town of Lukula over renewed chieftaincy dispute and clashes there. Several homes have been torched and residents have fled the area after violence broke out earlier today. DC for the area, Adam Eliasu, who has been sharing details on what really triggered this latest clashes, says many residents have left the community over safety concerns.
Oh, but it's an old thing. That issue is over 40 years. Almost every year it will resurface, and then the security will go in. Just 3 months ago or so, it came up strongly, and then both police and military were there for about 2 weeks. Then the place was calm. They left only last Friday or this Saturday that it started. The Romans started, and we sent the police there. We didn't see anything, but the police were there. Somewhere Monday, Tuesday, we heard that the people were preparing to come there again. Then we added a number of police because we had about 20 in Mankarugu, so we deployed them to the place. Then when we saw that the threat was becoming too much, we added some number from Daboya to go and support. So in the area that we have, we're close to about 35 policemen there.
But in terms of houses that had been burnt,
some houses have been touched.
We do understand that some villagers have also fled the area.
Yes. As it stands now, you cannot get any adequate data on us, how many people have left the place and the damages that have been caused and all those things. You cannot get accurate data on that because as we're speaking now, we are still struggling and then looking at how we can calm down the situation so that normality will return to the place.
We've also been hearing from the chairman of the Northeast Regional Security Council, who's also the regional minister there, Yidana Zakaria, who says a joint security team are currently working tirelessly to restore peace in the area.
Decision by the RESEC and that of Savannah. So the Savannah has sent security, Northeast also has sent security, so that they will complement each other's efforts. So they are on the ground, and they are yet to give us feedback.
In terms of what's happening on the ground, it means that it's quite serious for both regional security councils to send men over to the place.
Oh, for that one, that's what I'm saying. I want to reserve my comments for now. But what I have been told is that they've been able to restore calm. That is what is refreshing to hear. But very details of the situation on the ground, I think they need about an hour or so because they've been there not long ago. Savannah got there first. Then Northeast also are now on the ground. So we are just waiting for them to give us feedback.
I can take it there live now. Let's go to Northeast region and speak to our correspondent, Elias Utanko, who joins us right now. Elias, you've been following this very closely all day. We've seen the horrifying videos and pictures from this town, many of the homes torched beyond recognition. What can you report as of tonight?
Well, as you're hearing from both Security Council chairman, the North Gonja District Security Council as well as the Northeast Regional Security Council, I can tell you that the security forces are currently on the ground. They have taken over the community, but the community itself is like a ghost town now. More than half of the community residents have fled the area. Some, as I speak, have reached communities such as Janga, which is in the West Mampresi municipality, very far away community. We understand some of them started fleeing the community since last night. And as I speak to you now, like I said, the security forces have taken over and they are currently on the ground.
And I know this from what we've heard, it's something that recurs, apart from the fact that what has erupted today appears to be pretty significant, people fleeing. Have we heard anything about possible fatalities?
Well, yes, we have heard that there have been some casualties, but because of the situation, because at 3 p.m., the fighting was still ongoing in that particular community. So, yes, there have been victims, there have been fatalities, but we are not able to confirm. We understand one of the rival chiefs was killed in this particular conflict and also some police officers also injured. But as I speak, we are yet to get official confirmation from the authorities.
Thank you very much, and we're working to see we can get a bit more tonight from the authorities there, who we understand have been in the meeting over the developments. You can go to many social media platforms, but also myjoyonline.com and see the videos and pictures for yourself. You're still listening to News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, if you have a mobile money account and your SIM card has been restricted, there is a risk of permanently losing your funds if you fail to register that SIM within the unspecified grace period. Now, the affected SIMs have now been limited in functionality, with calls and text messages blocked, allowing only registration on the network. Now, starting today, more than 9 million SIM cards have been blocked, with more than 7.4 million of them registered with a mobile money account. Already, some mobile money users mobile users are already lining up at the various centers, attempting to complete the process. I want to go to Labour Firm's Nana Boachi Yadom, who's been monitoring this for us in the Ashanti region. Nana, from what I understand, the queues have been pretty long today.
Evans, well, the day has been quite strenuous for some stranded mobile network users at various telecommunication offices in the Ashanti region. Majority of these people trooping into some of the telecommunication centers are affected by the SIM card deactivation, which began yesterday, May 31st. Some of these stranded persons have passed through the first process of the SIM card registration, but some have also not gone through the entire process at all, citing the unavailability of their Ghana card as an excuse. But surprisingly, we have persons who have their SIM cards fully registered, but they are also affected by the deactivation exercise. Well, this situation has led to some mad rush for Ghana cards at some national identification offices in the Ashanti region. So we can say some persons are still at some telecommunications offices waiting to get their SIM cards activated as of now.
Already start my SIM card, you know. Be trying a new one, yeah. Be trying to already start, mommy. So by 2 months, my block line, I'm near quite I
registered my SIM card, but for about 2 months now, they have blocked my line. I went to their office to register, but still my SIM card is blocked.
Registration,
They tell me the SIM card is blocked when I try to make a call.
Me call office no mo ye mame nti me de mo ye mame so me te de ye ko a nti be 2 months ni no mo block line
Friday by about 12 no na omutwem ba o de o reset phone so a network ne ba but within seconds bi na asat ko na ba emergency.
My SIM got deactivated on Friday. We've been to several telecommunication centers, but the issue hasn't been resolved. I am told my registration didn't go through, but if they check, everything says otherwise.
That means registration now go through. But I'm phone so check if I must register.
James Avaji had been around in Accra, and I guess it's the same.
Yes, exactly. So the people I spoke to today had various problems. There are some who got their SIMs blocked. There are some who have come to register their modem. And so for those who had their SIMs restricted, they tell me that they are unable to make call, they are unable to receive SMS as well as perform mobile money functions. One of them, which I spoke to, also indicated that she has a modem. The expectation was that even modem could have been restricted, but she tells me that her modem was working as at this morning. She's just there to register it to ensure that even if they will block it, they will block modems. Hers will not be captured. We can listen to some of them talk about their frustration.
I wanted to make a payment this morning, so they said that the account I used to access before that, I'm no longer used to access it again. That I have to meet the office. So this morning I said, let me come and see them, because before they have been wanting me to register quite all right, you see. But I traveled, at Voter Legion. Some places you won't get a chance to, you feel come there till morning till 3 o'clock, you won't get what you want, you see. So I said, let me come to Accra back, then I will do it. Even this morning, I made the call around 6 a.m. I made call finish. So right now, I wanted to call somebody again. It's not going. So I said, let me come and see them. You see.
So at first, they blocked your mobile money. Now they blocked the call. Are you able to access data?
No, even data too, I can't even access. I can't browse, I can't make call, I can't withdraw. You see, I can't access the mobile money again.
Yesterday I came and they said the network wasn't good, so I should come this morning. That's why I came.
Meaning you didn't register it at all since they were?
No, I didn't register it at all.
I'm here for my SIM unlocking. My SIM have blocked, so I have to come and unlock it.
You didn't register it?
I registered it already, but it just blocked.
Did you get a message that it was the registration didn't go through, so you have to register it again?
It's not the registration. The SIM itself just blocked. So I have to come and unlock it.
So you don't know why it's blocked?
Yes, please.
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Telecoms, Dr. Ammishaddai A, is uncertain about the window for retrieving mobile money accounts. He says those who fail to take advantage of this window, which is currently in effect, may lose their numbers forever.
And the initial directive was going to be that we're going to block, we're going to delink, and then we're going to remove. But through the magnanimity of the NCA, what is going to happen now is that, so they will block. So when we block, now all the fraudsters and all of that, will not have access again. But then you have the opportunity, so you can do a call, you can send a text message, you can do data, you can do your mobile money. But you have the opportunity to be able to dial *404# to be able to register when you get your Ghana card. You also be able to check whether you're registered, so the 400 would also be working. And then, so now when you go back with your Ghana card, you can restore your number with all the history that is behind it. Also, typically like the police, if somebody has committed crime, in what we're going to do initially, it would have wiped up all of that evidence. So the police can still go back in there and be able to go and investigate it. And also for the about 7 million or so whose mobile money will be affected, what has happened is if you restore, you will get access to it. If you don't restore, what was going to happen is that the Bank of Ghana has asked the EMIs who operate mobile money to put that money in an account aside so that with the right evidence, you'll be able to go and get it. But what the NCA has done smartly is that there is no timeline for this. So the NCA could decide that 2 days later, I am going to delink, remove.
And then you lose access to
your Momo. You lose it.
To your Momo?
No, you lose the access to your Momo, there now you will lose it. Okay. The only way you do is going to get your Ghana card.
And register.
And register. But if the NCA decide that this window they've given, after a week, they are going to stop it. What is going to happen is that
blocks you forever.
It will block you forever. You will not have your number. And you should bear in mind, even if this is the number you use to do your banking and your OTPs are sent on it, from midnight, what is going to happen? The telcos, it's about 9 million so for everything else. But the telcos will
midnight
not be able to
is 2 hours.
Yes, but they will not be able to do all of it at once. So you find out that MTN might be able to do like 800,000, Tigo might do the same number. So it will take a while for them to be able to get it. But it's definitely going to get there.
And I know many of you have experienced this today. Please share with me. And thankfully, Dr. Ammishaddai will join us also to a further conversation on this and a bit of clarity, because we've heard from the mobile money operators already talking to us about how they themselves are encountering some of their customers coming to them with concerns about, their accounts being blocked. Joining us now is the Deputy National Secretary of the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana, Ransford Aleke. As I said, Dr. Ammishaddai is also on with us right now. Ransford, from what I understand, your agents are exempted from this exercise. And I know today people who have their mobile money numbers haven't been, restricted and deactivated and may also be concerned. What has been the experience of your members?
Okay, thank you so very much. Good evening. I'm Ransford from Mobile Money Agent Association of Ghana, MAC, the Deputy National Secretary. Yeah, this notice has been placed some months back with the restriction and the requirement for it, as the Ghana card is what is the prerequisite for the SIMS activation to remain on the market. As of yesterday, what we collected from the agent's point of view is 45,000 agents to lose their numbers. Aside from the subscribers, 11 million. Between yesterday and today, the number has reduced to about 9 million in totality. So what the actual is happening is that between yesterday and today, people have been able to go for the registration. But with our national collection, we realize that many are the people who have not been able to have access to the Ghana card in one way or the other. And for that has been the main reason for which we are losing as much as 9 million, both subscribers and the agents nationwide.
You can clarify for me, are you saying that agents have also had their accounts blocked?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Dr. Ken Ashigbe joins us. Let's clarify this a bit more for people who may be affected. Dr. Ashigbe, what clarity can you bring to this conversation with the mobile money agents?
Well, the agents and merchants, they are part of the group that have been exempted because some of them have not completed their registration, as Mr. Ransford had mentioned. But because of the interventions that they themselves made to the NCA and which we followed up as well with, the exemption list that we have from the NCA after the last technical meeting should not include agents and merchants. So if there are any agents who are in those categories, they should go back to the networks from which they registered and then provide the necessary information, and they would be unblocked, and then they will go through the processes of completing their registration. So none of the agents are supposed to be affected. If any are affected, then they need to take steps to ensure that they can be restored whilst they then complete the process of getting registered onto the SIM database.
And you can confirm that the blockings have happened today?
Yes. So about 3 million subscribers have been blocked so far. And so I'm sure in a couple of days' time, all the numbers that have to be blocked are going to be blocked. The good thing is we're still seeing people, go through the process to register themselves. So I'm sure as we go along, the numbers that will totally have to be blocked itself will be reduced. But it's important that, as you mentioned, people take advantage of this window quickly and get their numbers registered. So for those who said their modem is still working, they should bear in mind that they might be part of tomorrow's cohort or the next day's cohort, and so they should actually, I think it was smart of the lady to go and wanting her number registered.
And there was a window, in fact, there is a window currently active for those who want to register to do so, although your lines have been blocked. Do we still have clarity how long this window will last for?
No, so the NTA would be able to determine based on the data and the tracking that they are doing at any particular time to say, well, at this point, now those that you have blocked who have not re-registered, they link, deactivate, and remove. Then, as you said, then they would not have access to their numbers again. If they go back and they want to do it, to be a new registration that they would have to do.
But how does that relate to monies you have in your wallet?
Okay, so what happens is that if you don't take currently for all of those money, they still will be linked to their wallets. But immediately it is delinked and removed, then what the mobile money operators will do is that they'll move that money into some specified account. And so the only way you will assess it is you would go and provide some information. They would have some security questions that you will go through, and then the money would be given to you, either directly to you or transferred into another mode for you. But it will not be on your number again because that number would then have been removed.
That's great clarity. Thank you very much, Dr. Ken Ashigbe there. I want to hear from you on this, especially if you've been affected, and share with me your own experience. Earlier, you had the Mobile Money Agents Deputy National Secretary, Ransford Aleke, who also joined us. I'm grateful for your time, sir. Share with me 05511119997 what your thoughts are and your own experience with what is happening. Now, more than 100,000 students in the northern region face the difficult choice of sitting on the bare floors or squatting. A severe shortage of furniture hits the region's schools. The dire furniture situation in basic schools has been revealed by data from the Ghana Education Service, highlighting the challenges that the schools there face. 33.6% of the kindergarten students have access to furniture, while just 44% of the primary school students have adequate seating. Meanwhile, ActionAid believes that the shortcomings stem from the decision to reduce funding for basic schools by the state. Now, Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugri has more in the following report.
Together, civil society organizations, the Ghana Education Service, and government representatives to deliberate on the furniture challenge in the northern region and propose solutions to help address the challenge. In the presentation, the Northern Regional Statistics Officer at the Ghana Education Service, Alhassan Sayebu, added that the situation at the junior high school was much better, with 73.3% having dual desks.
And junior high schools currently, as has been reported, they have about 73.3%, and we have 44% for primary, and then 33.6% for kindergarten. For kindergarten, enrollment currently stands at 881, and of that number, we have 52,643, and that gives us a 33.6%. So we have a shortage. So in total, about 104,238 children are currently either perching with somebody or sitting on the ground.
Country Director of ActionAid, John Onko, on his part raised concerns over the continuous dwindling of budget allocation to the education sector.
It is worthy of note that these challenges mentioned can be addressed only if budget allocation to the educational sector, for example, the basic education sector, is enhanced.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, in his address, directed all MMDAs in the Northern region to fashion out effective plan at the district level to ensure furniture for all pupils in their area.
Mr. Chairman, the furniture situation in the region, especially in our basic schools, is indeed quite dire. We need to act immediately whilst we seek attention from the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service. To address these critical issues in education, I wish to direct all MMDAs in the region to fashion out effective plans to ensure furniture for all pupils in our basic schools in the region.
Martina Bugri filed that particular report, and let's stay with education because it's been 3 years since government started implementing a new curriculum for basic schools across the country, and some schools are still without the much-needed textbooks for instruction. Last year, Minister for Education Dr. Yause Duchum told Parliament's Government Assurances Committee that the situation has been fixed and textbooks distributed to schools nationwide. The committee has been verifying this claim, and as they tour parts of the country, specifically they are in the central region. My parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante, has been traveling with them and joins us on the telephone line right now. Kweku, how many schools did you visit and what's the story?
So about today we've gone to about 5 basic schools in the central region, from the Futu constituency, Futu District Assembly to Gomoa to Swedru, and a number of schools. And what the finding has been is that schools have indeed received the books, just like the minister promised. But either these books are inadequate or they are not according to the specification that they requested. Indeed, if you go to former basic schools, their behavior have not received any textbook at all. Therefore, have been received according to the headmistress.
Kweku, we're having a challenge hearing you. Reposition and speak directly into the phone. We're having a challenge with the line. Let's hear what you found. Are you suggesting that they found schools where the textbooks have not been delivered?
Good evening, Evans.
Hello, Kweku.
Evans.
Yes. Are you suggesting that based on what you established from this committee verification tour, there are some schools that have not received it?
Yes, indeed, Evans. Specifically at the Ammishaddai A and DA Basic School in Ammishaddai near Winneba, the JHS have not received any textbook at all. The committee members have been raising some concerns. Specifically, the headmistress has been confirming the fact that the JHS has no textbook, despite the basic schools having gotten some.
Science Basic 1, we have received 35 copies. Then B2, that is Basic 2, 42 copies. Basic 3, 36 copies. Basic 4, 45 copies. Basic 5, 40 copies. And Basic 6, 40 copies. None is received at the JHS level.
So we don't have the full complement, but from what I'm learning, there are some schools where the textbooks have been delivered in full.
Indeed, that's according to Madam Judith Micah, who is the Futu Municipal Director of Education. According to her, schools in her district have received every kind of the textbooks that they expected to receive from government.
Science Basic 1, we have received 35 copies. Then B2, that is Basic 2, 42 copies.
Apologies for the repetition of that particular sound there. And so what is the committee planning to do, Kweku, after visiting these schools?
The committee is expecting that when they return to Accra, they are going to put a report together and present it to Parliament. They say that they are concerned that close to 4 years since government started implementing these new curricula, basic schools do not have textbooks. They seem to be complaining that government is spending so much money on senior high school, universities, that basic schools are not getting what is due them. And so they are calling on headmasters to be forthcoming, tell them exactly what their challenges are so that they can feature in their report to Parliament when the House resumes on the June 6th.
Thankfully, we can speak to a member of the Government Assurances Committee, Andrew Dari Chiwete. Mr. Chiwete, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you. Good evening, Evans.
And based on what you found today, what action are you planning to take on this particular matter when Parliament resumes?
Like Kweku rightly stated, the duty of the committee is to go around and ensure that all the promises or all the assurances the ministers gave, the assurances are delivered. And so our duty is just to simply find out from the schools whether the promises that the minister made regarding the delivery of the textbooks, he has gone by that. And like Kweku reported, we have some of the schools receiving the textbooks. But there's a particular school that we realize that from JSS 1 to JSS 3, they never received a single textbook. And we are all aware that the JSS 3 peoples will be sitting their BEC exams very soon. Here is the case: the students do not have the textbooks. The teachers do not have the books to teach them. And so we think that it is not appropriate. Even those schools that they receive the textbooks, not the full complement. There are some of the schools that have the full complements. Others do not have. But in this particular case, the school Kweku reported on, JHS, they do not have at all. So we think it's a problem that we have to report accurately to Parliament. Then we'll get our colleagues to also contribute, and then we'll put the Education Minister right.
So we should expect that you're going to bring the Education Minister before you at the committee or on the floor for questions on this?
The Minister already appeared before the committee, and he disclosed to the committee that all textbooks have been delivered to the schools. And so it's now onto the committee to verify, to be sure that what the Minister said was true. But with our rounds today, it tells us that the Minister did not tell the committee the truth because all the schools did not receive the textbooks. And what is even alarming is for the fact that BEC students are writing very soon and the schools do not have the textbooks. And then another concern the directors raised Can you imagine a director traveling all the way from Kaswa to Cape Coast to come and cast books from the bookstore to Kaswa to go and distribute to schools? And so their concern is that why wouldn't they get a center where the maybe Owusu, is it Afanyoma King's constituency, and then Honorable Howard Kunsun's constituency, all those districts around, they should get a center around that area so that the books will be brought there for them to have easy access so that they can easily distribute. And you know what happens too is that government doesn't bring all the books at once. They keep bringing them in piecemeals. And so maybe at a point they can call the director and tell her or him that they have math textbooks for class 6. And the director will have to travel all the way from Kaswa to Cape Coast to come and pick textbooks for only a particular school class 6. And so that is another burden because the Education Directorate, they do not generate, they do not have IGF, and they depend on the district assemblies. Unfortunately, the district assembly, most of them are not forthcoming with financial support to the Education Directorate. So this has become another burden on the Education Directorate.
Okay. Thank you very much, Government Assurances Committee member Andrew Dari Shuate. After business, I'll share your messages with the rest of the world. Plus, we'll tell you about the World Bank's plans to cut funding for government social intervention programs like free SHS if it fails to implement proposed reforms. George is here with more from the world of business.
Hi, Evans, and coming up in business, Ghana to get first tranche of $900 million World Bank support funding in September this year, subject to meetings and conditions. And bulk oil distribution companies downplay impact of Gold for Oil program on recent price reductions at the pumps. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Allianz Life and Ghana Pay.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the process. Or simply dial *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Owusu-Amoah, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Media Sambisanda Moa. Etiam Ratiano, Mumu, Panet, Vietnam, Podompe, Mumana Yakono. Eh, Quabna. No, Mumu wants me to be just my marrying that day. And the crew, corporate to me, number of people, so you super accident ever. I didn't burn the Braille. Who see it in a mobile, some man I want it. Sir, I need now could you soon use super accident Chaco. Nenny, dear, a mouse, and we are credit fit of that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Could you, sir? Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Chaco. A baby, you're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadion Katuatu.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Ghana is expected to get the first tranche of World Bank support, budget funding support in September this year. Government will get about $300 million. It's in its account, subject to meeting some conditions. Now, this is part of a $900 million that the World Bank will advance to Ghana over the next 3 years as part of the IMF program. The World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte has been speaking on a yet-to-be-aired PM Express Business Edition tonight at 9 p.m. on Joy News.
Now we've only been doing project support, which is in line with what our country partnership framework. With the reform in place, we've readjusted our pipeline, our list of projects coming, factoring this budget support. It will be a 3-year program for $300 million each, totaling $900 million over 3 years. And we expect, because the fund program will overlap the year after, we will put another 250. So we will put over the 4 years about 1.1 billion. Then, because of the effects of the fiscal consolidation, we've also brought in early on additional financing for social protection of 150 million, which is going to the board this month. So this will come early. Our budget support will come in the second half of the year. But we've also brought in a financial sector support project, as you know, with the domestic restructuring of debt, domestic debt. These have impacted the banks. The capital adequacy have been hit. And as we speak, most banks, if not all, are probably below the capital adequacy requirement. And we are bringing in $250 million in emergency financial support project to help central bank and government cushion the impact on the banks of liquidity, and we're focusing mostly on solvency issues. But I want to make an important point. We will continue to deliver our regular projects. For instance, now in this month, we will bring an agriculture diversification project to the board, $400 million. We will also bring additional financing of $150 for Great Accra Resilience Project. So we will continue to do our regular work.
And that is the World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte speaking on a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Express Business Edition tonight at 9 p.m. You want to stay and watch that interaction. Now, bulk oil distribution companies are downplaying the impact of the Gulf Oil program on recent price reductions at the pumps. It's coming on the back of government's claim that the program has contributed significantly in the price reductions in April and May this year. Dr. Patrick Ofori is Chief Executive of the bulk oil distribution companies.
Per the research and the data analysis and everything that we've shown to you, and what we've also challenged other researchers on the line to also do a test run and other things, you clearly will know that at any given time T, the major determinants of petroleum products has always been the international prices and the currencies, performance, and how much maybe levies or taxes that is put on, or subsidy that is put on. And as for anybody to say a particular government policy had that direct or significant correlation between the two issues under review, clearly cannot be so. But you can't also discount, those of you who are interested in research, you can't also discount maybe the policy having maybe a mediating role in how our currency has performed. But as to it being a major determinant or a significant predictor of export price, I would say no.
And Dr. Ofori also disclosed that due to the challenges with the program, some of the oil firms have gotten out of the initiative. He was speaking at the virtual media engagement on recent market developments. Now, 2 Chinese supermarkets are among 6 businesses that were busted by the enforcement and compliance team of the Ghana Revenue Authority for not issuing the value-added tax invoice. Today's operation was in Asherman and Tema Metropolis and focused on these firms that were not issuing the VAT invoice as according to the Commissioner General's invoice advice. Here is the head of the enforcement team, that is Joseph Annan.
Jili Supermarket, and then Jiahua Supermarket, and then Tika Mall. The first 2, the name will tell you where they are coming from. They are Chinese businesses. They are restaurants, supermarkets. So they are also not issuing the invoice, and we have arrested them. We are going to take their statement, and then the rest of the process will continue.
Joseph Annan is head of the Ghana Revenue Authority's enforcement team. Now, telecoms giant MTN Ghana has resumed its Yellow Care employee volunteer program after 2 years due to the COVID-19 challenge. Now, the annual event aims to secure higher participation levels of MTN staff in high-impact social projects which the company operates. Speaking at the launch of the MTN 21 Days of Yellow Care, Chief Corporate Services and Sustainability Officer at MTN Ghana, Ajoy Afe, said this year's project will focus on young entrepreneurs to unlock growth and job creation for communities.
So this year, we are focusing on youth, we are focusing on women, and we are focusing on differently abled. We want to, MTN is moving to digital now. So we want to train them in digital skills to be able to help them to, whether they are engaged in business or even education, whatever they are engaged in, to be able to use those digital skills to help them. So for the youth, how can they leverage on digital skills to help in their businesses, and women as well?
Ajoy Afe is the Chief Corporate Services and Sustainability Officer here at MTN Ghana. Now, new owners of Golden Star Resources, Chiffon Gold Group, said they are implementing a 5-year strategy that will expand and automate the entire operations. Now, this came to light when the chairman of the group, that is Joanne Wan, and chief of Gold, that's the chief officer of the gold company and president, Madam Lydia Yuan, paid a working visit to the Wassa mines of the Golden Star Resources in the Western region. Speaking during an interactive session with employees, the chairman of the group indicated that it was necessary that workers accept the changes that are taking place in the company due to the takeover of the Golden Star Resources Wassa mines. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
And I'm looking forward to a conversation you are having tonight with the
World Bank country representative, that is Pierre Laporte.
Exactly, and something that he's been talking about that you've introduced one aspect of it, but another aspect that obviously is one that we need to pay attention to is the suggestion that they will not hesitate to cut funding to some of the government social intervention programs, and that is if managers of the economy fail to implement a proposed reforms to these particular programs. And we know that the reforms are embedded in the IMF document as well. And so to hear him articulate that, it clearly suggests that that is one of those areas that they will not compromise.
We want to do things the right way, in line with good practice everywhere else, and we don't want our projects to become political tools. So we are clear. If what is agreed, or what is agreed because we agree, we're going forward. If the government refuses to do school feeding in the right way, we will restructure the project and do not support that activity. I'll just give you an example. You mentioned
free SHS.
Free HSS. It's important because countries like Ghana, developing countries, government needs to support. But what we need to do is at the same time work in parallel to review your policies, to review your frameworks. How can we improve access to private sector in the health sector? And there is, IFC in some parts of Africa have invested, So where we come in, we look at your policies, we look at your governance structures, your frameworks, and we tell you this is good, this is not good. We propose changes to you. But if government doesn't want to accept it, we cannot force. Okay, sometimes either we put the money somewhere else, or we restructure projects and put it in areas where we feel it can better reach the beneficiaries.
And so with respect to this engagement that is going on, you have made some proposal. You talk about the new the school feeding thing. It means that there have been some proposals put forward on what government should do about these social intervention programs. If government fails to deliver on those actions, the funding will be cut.
Yes, we'll put elsewhere. We don't take funding and go back to Washington with it. What we do is it's happened very rarely, but it's happened where we take the money and put it somewhere else because your allocation, your basic IDA allocation, is for the country.
Straight talking, indeed, not mixing words at all, leaving no room for guessing. You either implement the reforms or...
Another project that the bank is on board is LEAP, and even you should see the funding allocation to some of these programs and how the World Bank plays a significant role in terms of the financial support. So there's supposed to be a new school feeding program as well, and the bank has proposed some reforms to it that government should consider in implementing it. I mean, it's more of an option. If government doesn't want to do it, they will move the funds and allocate it to other projects that they have a more say in how it should be done.
And that interview is in full at 9 p.m. on PM Express, and it is across our social media platforms. You don't want to miss that for anything. And talking about the economy, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum, they've rejected the Finance Ministry's call to halt picketing at the ministry. Now, the Deputy Finance Minister, Abena Osei-Asari, made the appeal when she met with the pensioner bondholders who have resumed their picketing this morning. They simply want all their coupons and principals paid.
At their last picketing, the pensioner bondholders reached an agreement with the Finance Ministry to suspend the picketing after government promised to pay all outstanding principals and coupons. At the time, government owed the pensioners 16 coupons and 3 principals. On 16th May, government paid 15 out of the 16 coupons except 3 principals. By May 29, government had accrued 4 more coupons and a principal, totaling 5 coupons and 4 principals in arrears, forcing the pensioner bondholders to resume picketing at the ministry. Thankfully, they had an audience with the Deputy Finance Minister, Abena Osei-Asari, who appealed to them to halt the protest.
Let's meet tomorrow, discuss this and look at the long-term payment for the principal. So I would plead that tomorrow you don't come whilst we meet with you and see how best we can look at things. My father here is shaking his head. But as I speak to you, yesterday we collected, or we were given the coupons that were outstanding that we needed to pay. And then we are in talks with Bank of Ghana. And so I would ask that let's give ourselves tomorrow to have that meeting that you said you wrote to us but we failed to respond. Let's give ourselves that opportunity to have that meeting. And then I believe that from Monday you would see some payments being reflected for the coupons.
But convener of the group, Dr. Edu Anani, has an objection.
We are not going to stop gathering here and say government will meet us. When government meets us, whilst we are here, tomorrow we'll be here. When we are here, we'll go and meet government. If the conclusions are right, we believe government will start making some payment on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. If we see that the next Thursday, which is next week, we won't be here.
And that is Dr. Edu Anani. He's a convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum. Time for sports. And Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Yes, Evans. Well, let's talk about JFA President, who celebrates his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday to him. Well, he's been speaking about the Ghana under-23 side, the Black Meteors, and he says that he is looking forward to them impressing at the under-23 AFCON tournament slated for later this month and hopefully qualify for the Olympic Games in Paris next year. You know, Ghana last played at the Olympic Games in 2004 and will be looking to advance as far as they can in this under-23 AFCON tournament and hopefully stand a chance to qualify. And for that very tournament, Ghana has been put alongside host nation Morocco, Congo and Guinea, and the tournament will start on June 24.
Last time we appeared at the Olympic Games, in the year 2019, we almost made it. Unfortunately, we lost out at the last line. But I think that generally we have a very, very promising squad. We have a very good technical team. The draw for the group games have been made public, so we know who our opponents are. And I think that the technical team have been working behind the scenes to ensure that we have a very, very competitive team. Indeed, we have a competitive team. And I believe that with the right levels of support from the Football Association and from government via the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ghana will be represented by warriors who play their hearts off to ensure that we gain qualification to be part of the fiesta in Paris. With the prayers from the 30 million people in our country.
That's Kete Kweku, president of the Ghana Football Association there. And just a bit of information coming following Sevilla's victory over AS Roma. Remember, Evans, that Jose Mourinho did go to the car park to attack center referee Anthony Taylor. And what we are getting...
Attack?
Yeah, I mean, he was verbally abusing the coach, swearing, and we understand UEFA says they're going to open an investigation into that very incident, and possibly Jose Mourinho might just suffer some sanctions for that. He was quite a sore loser in that.
No,
in that
considering the
tournament.
fact that this is his first final he's losing.
That
That
was
was
very emotional, very
painful.
emotional. So that's sports brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal and Chaco. Pepsodent, every smile matters.
Thank you very much. Into the Joy News Clean Ghana campaign now, where 2 persons have been arrested for disposing of food waste into the Koli Lagoon at Accra Circle. Both persons have made a wooden shaft close to the lagoon, creating a unique setup where they prepare food under unhygienic conditions. Well, the Joy News Clean Ghana campaign team was with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly situation team. My colleague Prince Owusu-Amoah joined them and reports.
It's been exactly a week since the Accra Metropolitan Assembly sanitation team visited the Kwame Nkrumah overpass to drive homeless street dwellers away. When the AMA officials left, some of these persons returned. Despite the noisy environment, with the city bustling and hustling with car honks, some home street dwellers lie peacefully in poor sanitary conditions. Nestled on the hard ground, they have fashioned a makeshift bed out of the pavement bricks and started clothes. A homeless shoemaker pleaded for mercy after the AMA sanitation team threw away his tools. Some homeless street dwellers have also made wooden shafts on the edge of the Koli Lagoon at Accra. These makeshift shelters serve as cooking spaces situated in close proximity to a public washroom, preparing and selling food to the public in those unsanitary conditions.
All the dust is going inside. You can't cover it. Huh? Is this normal?
Well, be warned, the Joy News Clean Ghana campaign train may just be in your neighborhood. And just before we go, how do Ghanaians react on Twitter after national football matches? A study of over 132,000 tweets by a computer science student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has found that Ghanaians react intensely to poor performances and largely nonchalant to good ones. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the lead researcher, Michael Ishan, for Tech Thursday.
Michael Ishan analyzed sentiments on Ghanaian football matches during the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
I created a Twitter developers account to generate API keys in which I can use in streaming the tweets. So we got 132,000 tweets, approximately. The actual number is 132,115. And then we realized that most of the tweets, some of the tweets were retweets and also duplicate tweets. And then we kind of filtered those tweets out, the noise in the tweets. And we actually got 115,000, approximately 115,000 tweets. We actually used 3 tools, the test blob, Veda, and then Roberta. Well, we realized that Ghanaians really kind of react to negative performance or to poor performance. They react very intense compared to positive or good performance.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
And that's how we draw the curtain on Newsnight tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember, the right up to me is personality profile. We'll bring you a playback of that interview that Lexis Bill had with Reverend Dr. Ammishaddai Owusu-Amoah, who is a Commissioner General